Welcome to the Same Day Podcast, where we discuss driving incremental business growth and other topics related to real estate, property management, and entrepreneurship. Now, to the show at hand.
Hi there, Yoni Schmidt here, hosting today's episode of the Same Day Podcast, where I connect with top real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and the likes. Top former guests include Chris Lyle from State Farm, Ben Nemechek from Blanket Homes, Elliot Nelson from the McNelly's Group. Today's episode is brought to you by Keyrenter Property Management. At Keyrenter Property Management, we are a full-service property management company helping our clients buy, renovate, and operate real estate assets. That is why no matter what rentals you have, single-family homes, condos, townhouses, apartments, we have the management solutions for you. Go to KeyrenterPMC.com or email us at info@KeyrenterPMC.com for more details. Today, I'm excited to welcome Yuval Golan, co-founder and CEO of Waltz, a company on a mission to simplify real estate investing in the United States for global investors. Yuval has built his career at the intersection of technology, finance, and global markets. And through Waltz, he's helping international investors overcome the complexities that traditionally come with investing in U.S. markets. Things like banking, financing, compliance, insurance, tax considerations, and currency management. Waltz is creating an infrastructure that allows investors from around the world to seamlessly purchase and manage U.S. properties, opening the door for more capital to flow into American real estate markets. Today, we're going to talk about cross-border investing, where global money is flowing, what investors need to know before buying property in the U.S., and how technology is reshaping the way international investors access real estate opportunities. Yuval, thank you for being here. And welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a very long intro, Yoni. And since you said you interviewed only top people, I guess I'm someone at the bottom. So I don't want to disappoint. So let's go from bottom to top instead of top to bottom. So I won't.
People misunderstand. When you say the bottom of the totem pole, that's actually the highest ranking position because all of the weight is on you. So, the bottom of the totem pole is actually, if you research it, you'll see that's the highest position. And I think you're right there with the rest of the people that we've interviewed. So
I don't know. I think when you put the trash in, there's some liquid. I'm somewhere there with the Ninja Turtles.
I don't think so. You were introduced to me by, one of my favorite people, a real mensch, let's say, Ben Nemechek from Blanket Homes.
My brother.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And he said a lot of great things about you. And he told me a little bit about, what you've done, what you're building, what you built, how you operate. And I think our listeners deserve to hear, a little bit about it too. So let's talk about, the origin story and Waltz. What inspired you to start Waltz? What problem did you see in the market that needed to be, solved?
I can quote my mom, and I can tell you I was a very disturbed kid. I was doing a lot of trouble because I wanted to solve a lot of things. And it started off with one time when I was 6, my mom told me no more allowance. I was like, what do you mean? I want to buy stuff. And she told me, go get a job. So I took it literally and I tried to find a job. So I went to deliver flowers and sell my old toys and all that kind of stuff. And then that kind of turned me into how to find a solution into some problems or things and challenges I'm starting with. So the real story started as most of us Israelis are kind of starting at the military. So I served in the Israeli Air Force for a few years, responsible from some cross-border corporations, and it was open up to the multidisciplinary world of how things move. Because, when we're kids, we're focused. I want to get my toys. I want to play, soccer or football. I want to play baseball. I want to go swimming. I want to hang out with my kids. But this taught me on how the world functions and how different things move other things and kind of the butterfly effect. Mm-hmm. So I left Israel in 2006 to Italy, which was pretty awesome. And I picked up Italian because no man in Italy speaks English to a male. If I was a Swedish blonde person, they're all English professors. But to me, no one will speak, English. So I survived in Italian. Then after that, started school, and after my work in the embassy over there, I moved to the Netherlands, place everyone speaks English. but everyone's taller than I am, even when they're 14. So I survived the Netherlands. In 2009, peak of the financial crisis, my elder brother got married in China. And that was the boom and the large growth, of a new empire, the new, and I just read in the books about it, watched, TV series about, and I was shocked. And I said, okay, this is where I'm moving. So I went back to Europe, which, in '09 was collapsing after learning a couple of languages, did a couple of projects in Finland, and then moved myself to the south of China, picked up Mandarin in 2 months because I had no choice, and built my first business. Stayed there for about 9 years. And then China, at the end of 19, I decided to leave after the company was working well and successful. And then in early 20, I heard something's happening. And that led to me leaving China. And then I realized pretty quickly, after being such, a gypsy in a few countries, every single time I started from zero. They couldn't care about my credit from one country to the other, which accounts you had. Every single time you got to beg to open a bank account. You got to beg to get a mortgage. You got to beg to find a rental. And then China was shutting down. I was like, wait. The largest exporter of everything in the world was shutting down. I remember now a lesson in macroeconomics that I didn't listen to and probably was sleeping during, that said the following: in the world of equilibrium, when sellers and buyers agree on pricing, which never happens, then there's an equilibrium. But what happens when goods are expensive? And if China is shutting down, this means there's no logistics, no construction workers, no construction materials. And I was like, holy shit, we're going to have shortage of real estate. And if there's shortage of real estate, which is the total opposite of '09, this means inflation. And in the same sleepy course I took, when inflation happens, that means the government has to introduce interest rate hikes. So I said, I got to buy a lot of real estate before everyone wakes up and realizes what's going on, because interest rate is very cheap. So money is free. And I got to fly over the world and buy real estate. And then that was very difficult. And also getting flights and closing deals and lots of failures, of course. And that led me to the beautiful intro you started. And this is the brief.
Yeah. And today, I guess, you're kind of like on the line between Miami and Israel. And is Waltz based in Miami? Is it based in Israel?
So we are a global company. We're very proud of that. We speak about 10, 12 languages. We have people from all the communities, from, US, Israel, Ukraine, a bunch of European countries, refugees, LGBTQ. We're super inclusive, more women than men. So we're a super, super beautiful company with full of cultures, and we have no identity. The identity is global, international inclusiveness, and everyone can move the needle because all of us suffer from these problems.
Let's talk about, those problems. Like, what are those biggest barriers that you identified for foreign investors, they traditionally face when they're trying to buy property in the United States?
Excellent. So as part of that journey, I was like, I want to buy after I failed in a few countries, in the most global city in the world of New York. Now imagine New York closing, which I'm sure you heard about.
Yeah.
Plus add to that COVID and no flights and no visas and annoying financial institutions that don't recognize your foreign credit. We organized a group of friends. We bought about 80 condos peak of COVID, and that took us individually 8 months to close, which was a disaster. I was like, this is the financial center. So it started with, I'm a client of HSBC in Hong Kong, and I'm the client of HSBC US. For a normal person, commoner like me, I would be like, same bank.
Right.
They communicate. But guess what? No, there's a Chinese wall. Hong Kong, literally.
Yeah.
Hong Kong HSBC and US HSBC don't communicate. So even if I give them a CPA letter from Hong Kong about my income, that's not the right, text for the US CPA or the bank mortgage department. And then add to that time differences and all these things. And they required me to have a US visa, but my US visa expired. And what would you do if the visa expired? You tell them, hey guys, there's COVID, there's no consulates. There's a backlog of like months. How do you close? They wouldn't care. And then you want to bring money into the US after your origin bank cleared it. But for the US bank account, for them, you're might be a drug dealer or a launderer. It's like, guys, this is money I made and was sitting with you. And then add to that, visa to the US, but I'm buying an investment property. Isn't it riskier if I have a visa to the US? You want me not to live in the property. So all these complexities. And then lemonade.com, you go to their website or State Farm, try to buy insurance. They don't have a non-SSN functionality. So, and I was paying so many things to so many people. And I was like, why is this not working? Or at the time when I was closing, I was in Thailand and they said, you have to change your title. And I was like, you mean I have to change my title? I'm in Thailand. I like being a male. What's happening here? And it's $30,000.
What did they mean by that?
The ownership of the property. So as a dumb foreigner, as a dumb foreigner that didn't understand that its context at the time was in Thailand, I understood different things.
Interesting. It's definitely interesting how, you could perceive things and misinterpret things. Let's talk a little bit about global capital and U.S. real estate. From your perspective, why is it that U.S. real estate is so attractive to international investors now, in the past, and also looking forward into the future?
Sounds good. So, sorry for my sarcasm. I will be serious. So, the U.S. economy, the U.S. economy, and the USD is the biggest and largest, most dominant and open market economy. So think about it for people like myself from Israel, or people from Brazil, or people from Colombia, or people from any other country that might have geopolitical issues. And then we'll discuss about stable markets as well. We believe that the US as the largest market is always affecting other economies. Example, when 2009 happened, that was a landslide for the entire world. But when the world is stable, the USD is a stable currency that everyone wants to have a part of. So one, investing in America is stability. Investing in America means prosperity. Investing in America means I protect my wealth. And investing in America in US real estate, that the initial entry ticket in certain areas is much cheaper than my home country. Let's say buying in Tel Aviv, it's at least 300, 400, 500K down payment. In the US, for 500K down payment, you can probably buy, depending where, 5 to 8 properties that you can gain 8 to 10% gross yield on an annual basis. You can get leverage too. So that's another aspect of it. All your expenses are tax deductible for the property, which is amazing incentive by the US government to incentivize investors. And at the time of crisis, when the world is suffering, it's a good time to bring money to America, because as long as America is the most dominant currency and foreigners keep on buying in America, the USD is still the dominant currency. So there's talk, oh no, foreigners taking over. Foreigners are not taking over. You should love foreigners, because when 2009, 10, 11 happened, foreigners invested so much into the US economy, in the US property, which helped the real estate recover. So that's kind of how I take a look.
Yeah. You mentioned something, bringing, money to the US, and that kind of leads me into financing and structuring some deals. One of the biggest hurdles that foreign investors are facing is financing. Can you tell us a little bit about how Waltz helps them solve that problem?
So basically what we realized is when foreign investors want to buy a property, the 3 most important things are: 1, that individual is a legitimate individual, not coming from a restricted country that is restricted by the US regulators. 2, that their source of funds come from legitimate sources: salaries, dividends, inheritance, family gifts, etc. The second thing is that the property is real, in a good location, in good condition, C1 to C4 as you're familiar, which is rentable or rent ready. And 3, that it can generate rental income, which can create the ability to recover all or most of the expenses that are incurred by running a property and taking a loan. When we connected all of these factors in, we're able to give a loan for investment properties, non-owner occupied, And soon we're launching also second homes based on, debt to income ratio. And by this way, we basically say, we understand you don't live in the US. We understand you might not have a visa, but we understand you have the funds and you're a legitimate person that wants to invest in the US economy, and we're your enablers to do so. And we do it digitally, remotely. We save you tens of hours of chaotic process, and we bring into the new age Amazon-like experience.
And this isn't only for foreign investors, it's also for local US citizens, people who, they hate the cluster of today's process, and, they want someone who can organize things, put them together, and package them neatly. Waltz can also serve American clients as well.
So you nailed it. You nailed it. So we had quite a few, about 10 to 15% of our clients came to us and was like, hey guys, I'm a lawyer. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an investor. The most valuable asset in my life is time. I can't deal with the shit. Can I be your clients too? Why are you, not allowing me to be a client? Of course we do. So we opened this up to the US market as well. And clients are very happy, especially tech entrepreneurs that don't want to speak to humans. They just want to have a digital experience. So these are kind of the personas.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the common mistakes that you're seeing international and local investors make when they're structuring their first, real estate investment deal.
So a lot of people, when they come to us, is one, they try to set up an entity in the wrong way. And then the EIN will take them 2 to 4 months to get because they don't have a social security number. And that may delay the banking, insurance, lending. So we set them up with the entity in a way that is also suitable for real estate. Another thing that they come in with the entity is wrong type of entity or wrong operating agreement, which is just a general or generic LLC they bought online. Another thing is a lot of times they sign the contract or purchase agreement without understanding how long things take. Like you buy a condo, HOA questionnaire, or any HOA questionnaire anywhere, which usually doesn't take same day, God knows why. So that's another common mistake. A third one would be kind of getting into this without thinking about the risks, because Excel eats everything. So putting some reserves aside, thinking again, this is, real estate is a beast that has some unexpected things. We love it. It's great. It's an amazing investment. But just like investing in friendship and in life, you have some, external use cases or extreme use cases you got to prepare for.
Yeah. I love that because you set up my next question so perfectly. A lot of people come to me, Israelis specifically, and they say, "Hey, I'd like to invest in real estate, and I don't have any idea where to start with them. Right? How to help them, how to help them navigate these waters." Even other foreign investors. So when foreign investors are thinking about investing in real estate in the U.S., how should they think about tax structure, LLCs, legal entities when they're buying properties?
Okay. So I would first think about, so the US based LLC is a pass through, which means when you pay also in the US, and again, I'm not a CPA, this is not a tax advice, you're able to buy a property, protect yourself because you're separating yourself as a person to the entity and what that entity holds. And then your interest and property management and insurance are all deductible expenses. So first, set up your entity, set up your bank account so you'll be able to fund the account. So and not everything is last moment, like us Israelis like to do. Don't worry, it will be okay. Make sure you can wire your money out from their Israeli bank because that will take time and it also will cost something. So we can offer you, foreign exchange as well. The other thing I would do is find an amazing property manager, because don't run your first property on your own. And that it's not like Israel. You don't go there and you go to the door. You need a professional team that runs credit, that has experience. And when something goes wrong, they know how to mitigate it. It's not the happy flow that you need them for. It's when shit hits the fan is when you need them, and you need them available, and you need good service. So I can tell you, and I told Yoni this as well, listeners, we haven't met before, but I am a happy client of Keyrenter, and we just spoke about it. I was, in Tampa, and I changed 2 property management companies until I reached the right one. So I'm extremely happy. So that's your boots on the ground. The other thing is arrange your documents, because lending, you basically need to convince an external party that you and your property are worth the risk of helping you finance them. So put your ducks in a row, arrange your bank statements, your source of funds, all your documents, and the more organized you are, the less questions anyone will have. And believe it or not, then you can just close the deal in like 2-3 hours of effort instead of like 30 or 40.
Yeah. Is it true or false, I guess, that Israelis or even foreign investors can't access debt in the U.S. Or purchase properties that are in an entity, right? Because a lot of times I hear, a foreign investor call me, say, I was told I can only buy it in my personal name and then I have to transfer it into my entity.
So it's not true. So we close loans under individual names. We close loans under, a personal, like an LLC. If it's usually kind of a complex structure, a hold code that has a sub and there's no relation to the owner, it's a case by case basis. But with the right partner and the right lender that understands foreigners, it's awesome. Now, I want to be very honest. There's a lot of companies that offer foreign nationals loans. Do they do it quickly? Not necessarily. Do they do it efficiently? Not necessarily. Do they have good customer service? It depends. All of them are my industry colleagues. So a lot of them do an amazing job. But if you want to centralize all the work, save time, save money, get good service, get responsiveness, we can help you with every single thing, from banking to insurance to origination to leverage to transparency in a digital experience. That's what we do. Because of course you can set up your entity and then, oh no, I didn't get my EIN, I can't close, and fly to America to open a bank account. And then guess what? Some of the banks won't allow you to wire more than 25K unless you're physically in the branch. That has happened to a client that didn't want to open an account with us. Like, wow, can I transfer it? No, you got to open an account. Now you're stuck.
Yeah.
I told you. That's why we set this company up. So all those little things that sometimes clients want to be, smart asses. We thought about this for years to be sure nothing goes wrong.
Yeah. Let's talk about something I think you'll enjoy, which is technology, and then in the future of global investing. Waltz is building an infrastructure to make cross-border investing easier. How do you see technology transforming global real estate investing over the next decade?
Wow, that's a big one. So I can tell you the following. If it wasn't for COVID, I think we won't be able to fulfill the dream that all of us had, which was remote online notary closings and DocuSign and notarize. We still do wet signatures and go to the consulate. So thank you, COVID, for convincing our regulators to implement that in the most of the US. That's one thing. In the next decade, depending on the involvement of AI and all the modules that will come in, I would say the following. People always need homes, and people need somewhere to live. Population is growing, and we're still at a shortage because since 2009, there was less construction. And also wealth is growing and people invest in real estate. So the demand is always growing. So that's why I love real estate. And I do see real estate and residential real estate still a great thing. I don't see us living in tents in 10 years. I don't know. Unless AI really kills all our jobs, which I don't think is possible. It should enhance human capabilities for the ones that want to adopt it. And I think in the next 10 years, we're going to have an amazing time in the real estate space, just like what we always have, just different, new experiences.
Yeah, love that. If someone's listening overseas, they want to buy their first US rental property, what's the first, call it 3 steps that they should take?
One, go to our blog, which is, go to our website, which is www.getwaltz.com. We built investment for dummies, just like I did, chess for dummies or whatever for dummies. And it's not a dummy. It just means we build it from the bottom up. So you can scroll to the bottom and learn, what is it, the real estate? What is it, the US entity? How do you take leverage? Why to invest in Texas or Oklahoma or, Ohio? Learn the budget, learn the taxes. And then as you scroll up, find yourself the on-the-ground team, which is a realtor and property manager, depending on that, learn the caps, learn kind of the first lessons, and then start your way and schedule a call with us. We'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, love that. For US-based property managers and operators, what do you think that they should understand about working with international investors?
I think what they should do is kind of explain to them the added value in property management, because in other countries, sometimes people are used to managing properties themselves, especially if they're within a vicinity. So that's number one, cultural differences. Number two is once you manage the properties and you build trust, it's very easy to referral business, just like the property, like real estate, a friend brings a friend, build your trust. It's the same thing. Just understand how their culture and tribal way works so you can get their business and their trust. This is kind of the basics. And two, we partner up with companies like yourself. So once you have foreign nationals that want to buy a property that you were connected to, we can help you to build the entire checkout experience. So then you take over as soon as the property closes, and then life is easier.
Nice. And finally, I want to ask a little bit about the vision that you have looking ahead 5-10 years. What role do you hope that Waltz will play in the global real estate ecosystem?
My goal is for us to become the official checkout solution for US real estate investors. You go to a website, you go to Zillow's, it's like IP is foreign, check out with Waltz. Just like Amazon built for us. We used to go to the shop to buy shoes or a t-shirt. Now we just add to cart, get it done.
Love that. Yuval Golan, thank you so much for educating me and our listeners about Waltz and just foreign investments in US real estate markets. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Yoni. Thanks for all the compliments. Once you record it, I'll send it to my mom, and hopefully one day she'll be proud.
I'm sure she's proud today. Thanks, Yuval.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Same Day Podcast. Tune in to a new show each week and be sure to subscribe to get future episodes.